What's up everyone, how you all doing? BlueNerd here and welcome back my friends to another Minecraft tutorial. I sure hope you guys are having an awesome day. Now today guys, I'm going to show you how to build these crop farms. As you can see, these crop farms blend beautifully with the terrain and they've got a very natural look to them, and overall I just think these look amazing. I'm really happy with the way they've kind of turned out. Now, I'm going to do this build a little bit different. This isn't going to be a block for block tutorial, but this is going to be a tutorial to show you how you can implement these into your own world. So we're going to cover everything from building up the crop fields themselves, building in some nice little trees that go into the pathways like this to create a nice bit of decoration. We're also going to go over the pathways and just a general talk about how you can put these, crop fields into place in your own world so that they look very natural. Okay, so with that being said guys, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things we're going to be needing to build this. Okay, for these crop fields we're going to need some grass path, coarse dirt, gravel, hay bales, cobblestone blocks, slabs and walls. We're also going to need some mossy cobblestone blocks and walls, some stone blocks and some spruce slabs. We're going to need some birch leaves, dark oak leaves and acacia leaves, some rose bushes, some tall grass, some small flowers of your choice, any ones will be fine, and some grass as well. We're also going to need some water buckets and a hoe so that we can till the soil to make some farmland. We're going to be using some lilacs and some sunflowers, a bunch of seeds, so wheat seeds, melon seeds, pumpkin seeds and beetroot seeds. We're going to be using some carrots and potatoes, and then some spruce and birch fences. Now, before we get into the build, guys, let me just quickly go over a couple of things before we get started. Okay, guys, just a few basics before we get started. So, first of all, when tilling the soil to make your farmland, you're going to need to place down some water sources so that the farmland is moist so that we can plant crops. Now, the water source will go by 4 blocks in each direction, allowing you to make a farmable area of a 9x9 square. If we go ahead and we till the soil just outside of this, across here, like this, you'll see in just a moment they will start turning back to dirt. Now the reason for this is because the water only spreads by 4 blocks in each direction. So when making your farms, be sure that you're placing down enough water sources to cover up all of your soil. Now, something that a few people don't realise is that with the new 1.13 mechanics, we can now place slabs on these to cover them up, and it will not dry the water up. As you can see, we can break it. We can also place stairs, and we can also place trapdoors, and we can cover them up, and then that way we can walk straight over the water sources without having to fall inside them. Now, also, while we're here guys, we will always need a water source to be able to plant most crops. So things like potatoes, carrots and beetroot are always going to need a water source. However, what a lot of people don't realise is that when planting wheat, you don't actually need a water source. So as you can see, we can grab our hoe here. Let's go ahead and quickly till some of the soil before it turns back to dirt. And we can plant in some seeds like this. And this will continue to grow. Now, without the water source, they will grow a lot slower than normal. Okay, but if you're planting big fields and if you're only planting them for decoration, then it's not going to really matter that much. But it does make it a lot easier when trying to farm it, because that way you haven't got to worry about getting your water sources everywhere. You can literally just till the land and plant. Now, just a couple of things we're going to be doing here, guys. Now, I'm playing in Germsy Boys Textures Pack, and it might be a bit different if you're playing with a different texture pack. So, for the lilac fields, or which should I say the lavender fields, we're going to be using the lilacs as the lavender. Now, with Germsy Boys Texture Pack, the allium does look a bit like small planted lilacs. So we can blend them in like this, which is what I'm going to be doing. Now, if your plants don't look like they blend in, so say your allium doesn't blend in with the lilac, then I would suggest just going ahead and using just the lilacs and don't worry about the alliums. Now, we're also going to be doing some grapevines, and which is going to be a very simple design. We're going to be having little paths inside the farms like this, and we're going to be placing dark oak leaves in a kind of bit of a jagged sort of line like this, leaving a few gaps with a few spruce fences in between. And I think overall this does look quite nice, kind of like a bit of a grapevine, and yeah, I just think it looks pretty cool. In some of the other fields, we're also going to be doing some hay bales like this so that the fields look like they have already been harvested. So for this, all we're going to be doing is piling up some little hay bales in this kind of formation with a spruce fence in the top to make it look like a fork has been stuck in the top. And you can place them in single bales, you can make different shapes of them, just something kind of like this, and I think overall they look pretty good. Now, with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and start working on some of the areas and getting in our pathways and stuff like that so that we can get these farms in place. Okay, so first of all, you want to find yourself a nice piece of land or plan exactly where it is that you want to be putting these crop farms. Now, these crop farms can blend into any type of terrain, guys, but I like to go with somewhere generally that is fairly low down and flat and not too many hills, but not completely flat. You still want a little bit of shape to the land so that we can add a bit of character and really make these farms look nice. So I like to go for something that is kind of shaped a little bit like this. Now, as you can see, I've gone ahead and I've made a path line with some cobblestone. Okay, so go ahead first of all and plan out your pathways. Now, your pathway that comes through these fields, you want to keep it fairly curved. Don't go with a straight path because it really just won't look that nice. You want to keep it nice and curved, you know, so that we can create some nice curved crop farms and ones that look a little bit like ruins, but it gives them a really nice look. So go ahead first of all, plan out your roads, something like this. And I'm going to quickly show you how I go about making my roads. So what I do, let's head up here where we've got a bit of a curve so you can see. So we're going to break these few just here for the moment. So first of all, I will put down a grass path. So let's put a bit of a straight path here. Then we're going to just go over a few like this to create a bit of a curve. Something kind of like this, okay? Hasn't got to be nothing perfect. You know, these paths, they're actually better when they're not perfect. Then we're going to go ahead and make them 3 wide, so something kind of like this. Okay, now don't worry if you get a few bits of dirt in there, it doesn't matter. That will actually just add to it if anything. So we've got a 3 wide path here. I'm going to extend this part here that goes over. I'm going to extend this to 3 wide, and also the rest of it like this. So we're going for something kind of like this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to just go one there and one there like that, one on each side to thicken up the bit of the path. If you feel like it needs to be a bit wider, go ahead and add another one, it doesn't matter. And just go ahead and, not like that, do it like there and there and there. Sometimes they just look like they need a little bit wider in places. So go ahead and get your dirt path in first of all around where your cobblestones are laid out for your pathway. Now, if you get any dirt in there and you want to turn them into grass path, you can easily do that by placing in another grass path and just going in using your shovel and just going over the top. Now, once you've got the rough layout of your pathway, remember guys, it only needs to be a rough layout. It hasn't got to look nice, hasn't got to be perfect because we're going to be transforming it in a moment anyway. Then you want to go ahead and grab your coarse dirt. Okay, now starting from one side, what I tend to do is I'll break out maybe a couple of blocks here on the grass area, bring a couple into the path, then maybe go one, and then 2, and kind of just dot back and forth but on the edge of the path. Now there's no right or wrong way here, you just got to kind of make it just look a bit jagged. And what it does, it gives it, once you're done, it will give it like a kind of more natural look rather than such a straight and kind of flat and boring look. Now you want to do this on both sides of the path, but make sure that you don't accidentally start following your own pattern on each side, okay? So keep it kind of different on each side. So let's just do a few across here. Then we could maybe put one in here. No particular pattern. And I would say run the most like 3 in a row. And even occasionally if you want, you could just skip a block and come something like that. It doesn't matter. So get something like this going. Then here and there, just now and again, maybe in the center of the path, just put down a coarse dirt like this. Now, if you've got, if your gravel looks a bit like a dirt texture, you can go ahead and just bung some of that in there like this. Now, this is Germsy Boy's texture pack, so if you guys want to use that, you can go ahead and download it. There'll be a link in the description. And you can use the gravel because the gravel blends in nicely with the dirt. Now, if your gravel looks like stones, you might want to go ahead and use something like brown concrete powder, some brown wool, maybe even some spruce planks. If you want to break it up a bit more, it's entirely up to you. Once you've got a bit of that in place and added some of your gravel or your brown block of choice, go ahead. You can even bung some out on the edges. Now the gravel will fall down, so be sure to make sure that you fill it back up if there's any holes underneath. And you just want to go with something that kind of just has a bit of a kind of natural, kind of muddy look to it. Okay, something kind of like this. And then finally, guys, just get yourself a bit of cobblestone and go ahead and just plop a few in here and there. And don't go too crazy with it, because I think these paths do look nicer with just a few of them dotted in here and there. Okay, and kind of dot back and forth. As you can see, I'm kind of going from one side to the next on the layout of them. Okay, just to create something organic and natural like this. So what you want to do now, guys, is go ahead, use this pattern and fill in all of your pathways. Okay, so go ahead and make all of your pathways in place. And again, like I say, don't worry if they look a bit messy, because once we get our walls and that in place for all the farms, it's going to look perfectly fine. Okay, once your pathway is all in place, you should have something that kind of looks a bit like this. And what you want to do is come over to wherever you've got any sloped areas that go up, and you want to make sure you put in some cobblestone slabs like this to create a little area that kind of comes up so that we can walk straight up the area like this. Okay, now if your land or the area of the terrain here is too close together, so say you've got like just one block gaps like this, where we've got one block and then another block, for instance, what you want to do is just between each level, just chop it back a little bit and chop it back a little bit, just so that you can get a stairway in there and continue that path all the way around. Okay, once you've got that all in place, it's time to start working on the farms. So let's go to the beginning of the path here, and first of all, work out exactly where you want to put your farms. So first of all, I want to put a farm somewhere kind of around here. So let's go ahead and we're going to put down a kind of gate entrance into this farm. So I'm going to put a couple of cobblestone there, leave a 3-block gap and another two there. So this is going to be the gateway into the farm. Now, what we want to do here is we just want to work a way of following around with the terrain nicely so that it all blends in. And what I like to do is I like to make some of these farms touch each other. So if we come up here and we join across this line all the way around and join into that wall, we could raise this wall up a little bit and continue a second farm against that one that we've just created. So let's go ahead and get the wall in, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So first of all, I'm going to make a little bit of a wall. So let's go 2, we'll go another 2. And what I'm going to do, because what looks good on these farms, if we curve this down, something like this. Let's go across like this. We'll break these two and come across. So what we get is we get a bit of grass here. Now this is a good idea, because what we can now do is we can put a bush in here, maybe even a couple of trees and stuff like that, and turn this into a little point of interest as you're walking through the farming area. Rather than keeping everything all sticking to the farms, we create something to stand out, and these little points are what really make these farms look beautiful. So let's go ahead, let's continue following a bit of the terrain here. So we're going to curve it around here, we'll come over to here. I think here it's going to bump up, so we're going to go there, then there. Then we're going to bring it round this way. We'll go straight into this one. Now, whenever we bring it into the higher bit of terrain there, make sure that the blocks underneath are always cobblestone as well. Okay, it's very important. Now, it will be switching some of these blocks up for other blocks. But first of all, we're just going to make a base layout of where we want, because most of this is going to be made up of cobblestone. We're just going to replace a few individual blocks here and there. So let's continue with this. Now, I think I've actually gone up too high here, because I actually want to follow that path line. So let's break this bit out here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place 1 there. Then we're going to go 1 there. Then 2. Then we'll do a couple across here. And then we're going to start following along this way. So we're going to put a grass block in there just to neaten that up. Then we're just going to start coming back a little bit. So we can break into some of the grass if we want to, just to make it look a little bit neater. And then we're going to kind of bring it down. We'll follow a bit of this area. Let's break 2 down there. And then we'll break 2 down there. And go 1. Bring that into there. We'll go like this, I think. Break these 2. Let's break these 3. And we'll bring it all the way down. And we'll kind of bring it around something like that. Okay. And then over this side, we're going to join over into this wall over here somewhere. So let's go ahead and bring some of this over. We'll break it down. Kind of give it a nice curve like this. Now, there's no way of doing this sort of any particular design, guys. Just kind of do your best to make it look natural. Okay, just give it a natural shape. Make sure it's all curved. You do not want any sort of like long straight areas. Keep these nice and curved And that way it will keep them looking nice and natural as if they were supposed to be there. Now, like I said, I want to place another field connecting to this one. And this one, I think, because we've got the bit of wall that comes up against this raised area of terrain, we want to raise this as the wall for the next farm. So we're going to go over here. We're going to start raising all of this up by 1 block like this. This bit, the grass here is a little bit higher. So what we're going to do is we're going to blend it down a little bit more. So let's raise this up so it's 1 block above that grassed area. And then over here, we're going to just bring it down like that back in, okay? And then that way, this area is going to just look a little bit more natural to the terrain. Okay, something kind of like that. Okay, we will be using slabs and stuff like that to make this look much nicer in a minute. But for the moment, we're just going to make a basic outline where we want all of these crop fields. So let's follow the top of this. And this is going to be part of the next field, okay? So once we get over to here, so this is one field already here. The second field is going to be behind this bit of the wall that we've already now started. So we're going to continue the wall from, let's see, from this point here, okay? So we'll do 3 there, 1, 2, and then we'll go 1 in there. We'll put 2 here. So let's go like this. I think break that one. Let's put some grass into those. That keeps that part of the field level. And then we're just going to curve it around, I think, up this corner here. I think what would actually look really nice, let's do this. We're going to bring that up. We're going to break that one there. Now that's going to be part of the entrance, and we're going to put a diagonal entrance here. So let's go 1, 2 block gap here, and then we put another wall there. And that is actually going to be the entrance into the second farm over here. And what we're going to do from this side here, let's go ahead and break that for a minute. Actually, no, we're going to come into here, I think. So we'll leave that grass in there. And now we're going to go in and start putting in a second part of the farm. So let's go ahead like this. Now, I think here we're going to need to cut around here a bit to make this. So let's start making a bit of a curve across here. Okay, so we're going to go like this. Like this. Let's go 2. Then we'll put 1, 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3. And again, we just want to make sure we kind of step it down slowly. Okay. So that it kind of blends around. Because we're going to be changing them walls up. But we want to make it look natural as it goes down. Then we're going to just bring this all the way across here. That's quite a long straight area. Let's go and break a chunk of it out the center here. Like I say, not too many long straight areas. Something like that. Creating a bit more of a curve. And we're going to just continue this one over a little bit. So something like this. Now we are going to end up probably going, I'll tell you what, let's break this because we want to keep this flow natural. Like I say, every time we do these, we want to make them natural. Let's go back one from here. We're going to join all the way up here. Making sure that underneath here, we replace these with cobblestone. And let's just stretch that dirt across there so that it looks a little bit more natural. Something like that. Then we're going to bring it out and we're going to raise these ones up by 3 because we want to keep it 1 block above this main dirt level. Then we're just going to run it all the way across here. So let's run it all the way across to the end like this. We'll join it up. Again, making sure that that raises with it. Then in the corner here, we're just going to bring it round and just bring it up so that it kind of blends in with everything else that we've done. So something like that. We're going to just lose these few blocks here for now. Make it 1 block higher than this grass at the back. Okay guys, there we go. And I think that actually looks pretty good. So you want to go with something kind of like this, okay? So go ahead and outline all of your fields first of all. That's the first thing you want to do. So go around, create more fields around the back here and fill all these areas up with fields as you please. But this is kind of what you want to do. You want to get your shape going first. Once you finally get your shape all in place, you want to go ahead and get yourself some cobblestone slabs. Now here is where we're going to really shape the wall up. So starting first of all on top of the wall, we're going to go ahead and we just want this wall to be uneven. So we want to go up and down with it all the time, okay? So something like this. Actually, we'll go like that. Then on this one here, we're going to go up by a couple. We go down one, up a couple, down to one. Just keep changing it so that it kind of looks different. That's the main goal. We just want it to look different on each level. Something kind of like this. Okay. Once you got that in place, on the very edges here where it's higher and you got blocks like this, just go ahead and bring it out. You can even do it like this if you want. Single ones. I don't normally place it when we've already got a slab there. I'll leave that as it is. But whenever we have another gap that we can fit in a bit of wall like this, go ahead and do so. So go ahead and you want to get all of this in the side. You also want to go ahead onto the inside and do the same thing. Okay, so go ahead and just blend some of this in if you can, anywhere into the environment, something like that. Go ahead, put little slabs in like this whenever you sort of feel necessary. Because you want to create a thick looking wall, but something that kind of looks a bit like an old castle ruin. Okay, that's kind of the effect we're going for. Now, once you've got this all in place, guys, you want to grab yourself some stone blocks. You also want to get some mossy cobblestone. And then you want to get some cobblestone walls and some mossy cobblestone walls. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to start randomizing the look of the blocks. So first of all, with the stone, just go ahead and just break a couple out here and there and start replacing them with stone. Make sure you're replacing the 4 blocks, okay, with the 4 blocks of stone. Now, if you're playing in 1.14, then be sure to go ahead and you could use the stone slabs and the mossy cobblestone slabs as well. But I'm playing in 1.13.2 at the moment, so I'm going to just stick with the blocks that I know. Now, once you've done this, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get some mossy cobblestone. And again, we're going to do the same thing. Start breaking a few out here and there. Try and go into some of the little cracks and little points that you think that might kind of get a bit of moss growing on them. Just to try and make it look a bit natural. Okay, something kind of like this. And yeah, I think that looks okay. Something kind of like that. Now, you don't want to put them in too big of blocks. I normally put them in anything from 1 to 3 blocks, but I don't tend to put more than that together in one spot. Then you just want to get some cobblestone walls and just randomly place a few here and there, kind of on top, on the sides, and anywhere you feel it kind of looks a bit natural. Okay, place some on here with the mossy, something like this, and I think that looks pretty good. It just allows it to create a little bit more shape to the wall itself, and kind of blends in nicely. You can also go ahead with your slabs if you wanted and do something kind of like that to create a bit of a thicker edge on the wall here and there. Just creates like a kind of more of a natural feel, like the wall kind of is sort of embedded into the ground. So yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. So now what you want to do is, once you've got all of your farms all in place, you want to go around and do this with all of the walls as well. Make them all look something like this and blend them all around. If you feel like something don't look right, go ahead and break it and change it up and mess around with it. And then where you have these bigger walls at the back that are coming up onto any terrain, you can go ahead and make bigger bits in your corner. Something kind of like this maybe. It hasn't got to be perfect. Something kind of like that. You can even swap that out a bit more for something like that. Okay, and just mess around with it until you feel that it kind of looks natural and it looks like it sort of fits into the spot. Okay, so go ahead, do this on all of your walls, guys, and then once you're done, we're going to start going ahead and working on the actual farms itself. Okay, once you've got all of your fields in place, you should have something that kind of looks a bit like this now. So as you can see, we've got some natural looking fields here. As you can see, I have gone ahead and hydrated some of the land around here. So we've gone ahead and we've added a bunch of water buckets and gone ahead and tilled it all to make it all ready to start planting on. Now, these are the only fields that I'm going to need to actually have hydrated, because the other fields are not going to require any hydration on them. So, first of all, you want to work out exactly what you want to put in each field. So, I normally start with wheat. Wheat is always one of the first things I tend to start with. So, for this, it's very easy. Get yourself a hoe, get yourself some wheat seeds, put your seeds in your offhand, grab your hoe, and then you just want to go ahead and start tilling all the land and planting your seeds just like this. Nice and easy. Okay, and covering all of the area that you want. This will take quite a while for it all to grow, guys. But, you know, by the time you finish planting everything else and getting everything else all in place, this will probably have grown by then, because it's going to take you a while to get everything all done. Now, like I said, guys, this farm is a simple design. It's nothing too complicated, but it is certainly time consuming. It will take you probably quite a while getting all of this in place, and a lot of tedious work getting everything all done, switching out some of them blocks to make everything look natural. So go ahead, take your time with it, guys, but it's totally worth it in the end because it will look very nice. Now, once you go ahead and get all of your wheat field in place, you want to cover up your whole field. And at the front of your entrance here, I would probably go with putting in a little bit of a grass path like this. So make a little entranceway like this. And then just put a few bits of coarse dirt. Just kind of dotted around here and there. Nothing particular. We could also go ahead and add a little bit of gravel. So let's get some gravel. And we can throw a little bit of gravel in here. Even a little bit of cobblestone if you wanted to. Make it look a little bit sort of natural. So blend it out a little bit. Something like that at the beginning. And then around the rest of it, just make sure you go ahead and plant all of your wheat. And once it's all grown, you should have a really nice looking wheat field. Now, we're going to also do a lilac field over here. Now again, guys, I'm going to just brief over how to go about these because if we've done it all on camera, it would be an awful lot of work. So I'm going to just go over and briefly explain how to do each kind of style field. For the lilac fields, again, this is very simple again, guys. First of all, create a little entranceway into your field. So something just basic. Again, just trying to make it look a bit natural. You know, don't make it look too straight or anything like that. And then just throw a few different blocks in there to kind of rough it all up and give you just a kind of very nice looking bit of farmland. There we go, something kind of like that. Okay, that's good. Then go ahead, get your shovel, and you want to start making some little pathways for where you want your field to run. So normally what I tend to do is diagonals. So I'm going to literally just start from the side here. Okay. And I'm just going to go something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just keep moving over every sort of, after you've done your 5th block, just move over to get a diagonal line, kind of like this. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and just double up the line so they're too thick like this. And then maybe just add one more at the side here just to make it so that it kind of looks a little bit more like a thicker path. Go ahead, throw your coarse dirt and gravel in there for those little pathways like we do. Nothing too crazy. You can dot them on the path and on the edge of the path. Not as much as we did on our main pathway, but just a few just to kind of rough it up. Go ahead with your gravel as well. Do the same kind of thing. Something like this. You can place 1 or 2 just over a little bit. It hasn't got to be on the pathway. Just to create a natural kind of look. Something like this. Then you want to get your lilacs. Well, actually, sorry guys, once you've done your first path like that, you want to leave a gap of about 3 blocks. So where your grass is at the back here, leave 3 blocks. Then do your next path, okay? So do the same thing, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go over, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it ain't got to be exactly 5. You could do it at 6, you could do it at 7, you could do some at 3, some at 5. It doesn't really matter. The main idea here is just to make a bunch of little kind of paths like this that look natural, so that we can do it. So we want to put some pathways going across this way, pathways going up all the way across and over this side as well. So leave yourself another 3 or 4 blocks and do some more paths over this way coming up. Once you've got all of your pathways in place, get your lilac. Now for here, you just want to kind of randomly dot loads of them in here, okay? And don't be shy, you want plenty of them in here, but don't cover every spot, okay? But ideally, you want to put most of them. Okay, because you want the bulk of them being like this. So maybe a couple more up here just to thicken this area a little bit. So something kind of like that. Then go ahead, get your allium. And what I like to also do here is I like to get the azure blurts. I think it's azure blurts or something like that, whatever they are. Go ahead, place some of these in any of the little spare gaps that you've not used. So use a bunch of these. Something like that. And then with the azure blur, just place a odd one in between here. You can break some if you need to. Just like that. These are just a few. Yeah, make sure you only literally do a few. Something like that. Let's start maybe one in the corner. One about there. Yeah, something like that. It just adds a slight hint of colour in there amongst it. And that's pretty much it for the lilac field. If you wanted to, you could always get yourself a little bit of grass and maybe some tall grass as well. And you could just go around and just place a few random ones here and there, wherever they kind of fit. Maybe even some tall grass as well, something like this. If you want to break the odd plant, you can. Go ahead and put in a bit of tall grass. Something like this. Over near your gateway here, you could put some coolster in here and put some tall grass like this, just to kind of make it look a little bit nicer around that edge. And you should have something that kind of looks a bit like this. Now your pathways, guys, they are entirely dependent on you. You can make them thicker, you can make them thinner. You know, you can make them less rough if you want, or you can make them a bit more smooth by not putting so many texture blocks in there. It's entirely up to you. But this is how I would go about doing the lilac fields. And then again, what we just placed in between here, we would place in between this gap and a little next path you might put in here. But again, go ahead and rough up all of your pathways and stuff like that and make it look as natural as you can. And what you should have is a bunch of rows of these lilacs, okay? So you should have a bunch of lilacs just in rows all the way down. And it should look really nice, a bit like a lavender field, okay? Now, once you're done with your lavender field, we're going to move on and do a beetroot field, which I'm going to do in this one up here. I think this would be a pretty cool beetroot field. Now, this one, again, guys, is very simple. The design for this is really simple. We're just going to basically create some diagonal lines of crops and then just make some little pathways between them. So, let's go ahead and what way we're going to do this. I think I'm going to work from about here. I'm going to make them diagonally across this way. So let's start with placing beetroot seeds. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to move over to this way. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're moving over. Every third block, just move it over. And if you do mess up any of the ground, be sure that you replant it, okay? We've got a water source there, so we're going to just continue. So we're going to go over to this one. Do 3, then 3. And just continue with that same pattern all the way up, okay? Now, once you get as far as you can, you just want to go back to the start again. And expand them so they are 3 wide. So something like this. Okay, so add 2 more. There's a water source there, so that would have been 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. And just do this all the way across. Okay, matching it all up. So that it is kind of just, it will look like a kind of very straight, well, more of a straight bent road, if you like. It's going to be a diagonal road. Okay, that's it. That's the word, diagonal. So do this all the way across. And then here we're going to go 2 like that so that it will blend in with the same pattern. Okay. And then what I'd probably do is I'd come around to probably stay on this side, place 1 at the bottom of this little strip, 1 at the bottom of that strip, 1 at the bottom of that strip, at the bottom of that strip. Every time I have one, just add 1 more like so. And that'll just make it look a slightly bit more natural by the shape of it, okay? Then what I'll do is I'll leave a gap. So you guys can leave a gap as wide or as small as you want. I normally leave a 2-block gap for these. So again, we're going to 1, 2, 3. Okay. And again, we're in line with that. So the third one ends there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 2, 3. And we'll repeat the same thing all the way across until we get to the other side. And then we'll just expand it over so that it looks the same as the other side. So add in 2 more to thicken up the path, the crop line. Just like so. Then once you've done this, guys, it's just going to be a matter of kind of making the pathways look a little bit more sort of roughed up, okay? So we're going to go ahead, we'll leave the crops to grow, and while they're growing, we'll just go ahead and in between the crop lines, so these little lines that we end up with. Now remember, you want to repeat this all the way across the field, guys, okay? So just repeat the pattern, repeat it all the way across. And if you wanted to, you could probably repeat it, but leave a gap as you walk into the field. So maybe sort of bring it round on this level here and down in here, okay? But make sure you just got a little bit of a walkway in here so the crops ain't right on top of you as you walk in. Then, like I say, once you're done, get your cool dirt, go ahead and just plop a few of those in there. Nothing too much. Just like we did with the lilac field, really. Something like this. All the way to the end. Go ahead, put in some gravel in there as well if you want. Or even some cobblestone. It's entirely up to you. Make sure you don't touch any of your crop lines. You want to make sure your crops stay where they are. Something a bit like that. And then just randomly here and there, plop down a few bits of grass. You can put this onto the farmland or the cool stir. It doesn't matter. Place a few of these in between like this. And now and again, maybe towards the corners, just plop in a few tall grass like this. Here and there, just to kind of make it look slightly overgrown like it's been used. And it just gives it a much more natural feel. Okay? Now again guys, we're going to move on to the next field. I'm going to cover how to do all of the fields, and then at the end, once it's all done, I'll show you another glimpse of how everything looks and how everything's all laid out. So, we've got those fields all in place. Over here, I think I'm going to go ahead and do a pumpkin and melon field. So for this one, this is going to be very simple again. And this is only for me going to only be for looks, because I don't tend to use these fields. I would be more likely to make some automatic farms. However, if you guys want to make these functional farms, go ahead and plant seeds wherever I plant a actual pumpkin on its own, okay, or a melon. Plant the seeds rather than just placing these. So I'm just going to grab these for the moment. I'm also going to go ahead and get some dead bushes. We're going to be using some of those. We're going to use maybe some acacia leaves. We could go ahead and maybe grab a few oxeye daisies, but not many of them. And I think that will do. So, first of all, let's go ahead and just get our little pathway at the bottom here. So let's go ahead and just do something like this to get some grass paths. And then we're just going to replace some of these with a few bits of coarse dirt. Nothing too crazy, just like we did on the other ones. And then some gravel in between it as well. Just a bit like this. Okay, nothing too crazy guys, just pretty simple. Now get your pumpkins and your melons, and I would just go and scatter them however you please. If you want to mix them amongst each other, do that. If you want to put one side pumpkins, one side melons. If you want to make it all pumpkins, make it all pumpkins. If you want to make it all melons, make it all melons. So for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and do a combination, okay? So I'm going to just start plopping down some pumpkins. So let's go ahead and just plop a load of these all over the place. Ideally, you don't want to plop them in the same line, okay? See how we're kind of diagonal lined like this? Which this is what we want to do, kind of back and forth, so that nothing kind of tends to match up or look organized, okay? You want it to look very random. Okay, I think that will do for now, guys. Just nice and simple. We've got a bunch of them in there. Then let's go ahead and get some cool dirt, and we're going to start slightly messing up the field. Now, at this point, I like to actually place a few cool dirt just on at least 2 of the edges of each pumpkin, okay, like this. So normally I'll go around and do this on at least 2 sides of a pumpkin or melon. Okay, in some cases you can do 3, so just keep going around, placing them as you please. Once you've done that, you can also go ahead and place some random diagonal ones and ones in the ground here. Just place a few of them around. You know, break up the dirt so that it's not all of the farmland. It looks like it's been trod on, and it looks like people have been walking on it and stuff like that. So go ahead and do that as well. Once you've done that, go ahead, get your cool dirt, and you can do the same thing. Mix a bunch of this in wherever you please. There's no particular place of doing this. And like I said before, guys, if the gravel doesn't blend in with the farmland, if it looks a lot like stones, go ahead, maybe use some... You could use some brown concrete powder, you could use some brown wool, some spruce slabs, or you could just use just a cool dirt and leave it at that. It's entirely up to you. So just go around, do a load of that, get all of this in place. Just make sure there's quite a lot in there, because you do want this field kind of looking a little bit kind of run down. These pumpkin and melon patches look so much better when they look run down. Okay, so you want to cover the whole area looking something like this. Once you're done on a few of your cool dirt, go and place a few dead bushes. They kind of look a little bit like a kind of a stem leading into the melon and all that. Place a few of these around, no particular way. Just plant as many of them around as you can. Something kind of like that. Now, obviously, guys, I've not covered the entire field here, but you guys could go around, cover it in between on all of these ones. Put all of your dirt, coarse dirt and gravel in, and then get them in and cover all of them. Then once you're done, it does look quite nice now and again. Put in maybe a little Hoxha daisy or another flower just randomly spotted about here and there. But literally just sparingly with these guys, just a couple. Okay, you want it to be a very few of them around. And then finally, what I like to do is get some leaves. I've gone with the acacia leaves, and then just kind of just make a few little patches here and there, zigzagged. Try not to really connect to the melons. Diagonally it's fine, but you don't want to place it anywhere where it doesn't look right. The walls are normally a good place to go, but putting a few up on the walls, kind of like that. And just spot them around here and there. If you have little patches in between, you can put like a couple here. Even singly, they don't look too bad in between. And just go around, guys, and just kind of make it your own. You just want to get plenty of these leaves in here, though, because these leaves really do make the field really look kind of run down, and just makes it feel more like a kind of pumpkin and melon patch, the way it should kind of be. Something kind of like this. Okay, and once you've done the whole field, it will look so much nicer, guys. It really will look really nice. Okay, now once you've completely covered in this field, the next field you want to do is the grapevines. And the grapevines is very simple, guys. We only need a few things for this. We're going to use some spruce wood, some dark oak leaves. We're going to use our shovel, and then a bit of coarse dirt and gravel. And if you wanted, you could put a couple of plants in here, maybe a couple of red tulips, or maybe even poppies, maybe a couple of those. So what we'll do here, again, this is very similar to the way we've done the lilac field. So let's go ahead. We're going to put in a little entrance. Let's put in a little pathway. Something kind of like this. And again, just going to dot in our dirt. Something kind of like this. Okay, maybe a little bit of gravel. Something like that. And again, we're going to take our shovel, and from here we're literally going to just start creating some diagonal lines. So I'm going to do, let's go with 5 again. We'll do 5. We'll do 6, 5. Let's do 4, 4, 5. Random lines. It doesn't matter the length. Just make them random. And then we're going to just double it up. So we're going to come around the edge like this. Make the little pathway kind of doubled up. Nothing too crazy here, guys. Nice and simple. Just something like so. And again, guys, I would go ahead and leave a 2 or 3 block gap. I would probably go with 2. Make it look a little bit more compact. And just randomly do yourself a second path. And keep going all the way across until you reach the other side. But the key here is to kind of just make these paths a bit random. Even at some points, if it reaches 1 block like this, 1 block thin, it doesn't matter. We just want to make them kind of look a bit random. That's the main thing. The more random it looks, the more natural it feels. So let's go ahead and double this up so it's 2 wide. You could leave these at 1 wide if you wanted. It wouldn't really matter. It just depends on you. And then go ahead, as before, guys, go ahead, dot in your gravel, your coarse dirt. Do this all over the place, okay? As much as you can, like this. Put plenty of it in. But you want to still see the grass path. So you still want plenty of grass path there as well in between. And then go ahead, do with the same with your gravel. Just like so. Okay, then once that's in place, on these grass lines that you have through the centers here, this is where you want to start putting your little kind of grapevines, I suppose. And what you want to do here is really simple. Just anywhere on the grass path, just place a spruce fence. Leave about 4 to 6 blocks gap roughly. It's nothing accurate. Even smaller gaps are fine. Just randomly place a few of these following that grass path. They will come diagonally across. It's perfectly fine. Let's do that. Okay. So as you can see, just random. And then all you want to do is just start placing some of the dark oak leaves. Okay. And just make these a bit scattered. Something like that. You can leave a gap now and again. Place some like this. Place it on top of those fence posts. And just kind of just follow however feels like it's natural. But don't keep them straight, whatever you do. You want them to run kind of in zigzags. See how they kind of, if you look from above, see how they kind of look like they're moving up and down in zigzaggy sort of movements. That's what you want to do. That way it creates a really natural kind of feel to it. And makes it look a lot more natural. And just looks nicer in the long run. So kind of something like this all the way across. Okay. Once you're done with that, guys, just go ahead, place the odd flower here and there. And again, do not go crazy with the flowers. Make them very sparing. Just a few. Yeah, just dot them in between here and there. Wherever you feel sort of necessary. And I think overall that should look pretty good. Okay, now the last field which we're going to be covering over here. And that is the hay bale field. Now this one is probably the simplest of them all, guys. Go ahead, make your little entranceway like we have been doing, using both coarse dirt and gravel and grass path and whatever else. Once you're done, you want to go ahead and do the same inside here, okay? Now I'm not going to cover the whole place here, guys, but just use your gravel, your coarse dirt, and just go ahead and make a load of plops sort of here and there. Something kind of like this. Nothing organized, just completely random, okay? Do it throughout the whole field and do it, like I say, with both the gravel and the coarse dirt, okay? Big area like this. And then the coarse dirt as well. You could probably do a little bit more of the coarse dirt than the gravel. Something kind of like this. And do that throughout the whole field. Once you're done, go ahead and get yourself some hay bales. So you're going to need some hay bales, some spruce fences, and then you also want to get yourself some grass and some tall grass. And you could probably even get away with doing some ferns as well if you wanted to add some ferns and maybe some azure blurts or other flowers. I tend to think that the white ones look better in this field more than anything. And then what you want to do is place down some hay bales. So place one, you could make a couple kind of poke out like this maybe. Place one up and then make them face different directions, something kind of like this. And then in the top, place your spruce fence. Plop quite a few of these around, make different shapes with them. Something kind of like that. So we've got like a kind of little kind of V shape or L shape. You can even plop a few single ones here and there like this. And then just put one of these on top. Or you can even leave them plain. It doesn't matter. It just kind of looks like a fork's been pushed in to kind of hold it together. And then go ahead, fill up all of your field with as many of these as you want. Okay. And it's entirely up to you how many you place, guys. There is no specific amount. Just go ahead and kind of place as many as you feel would kind of take to... So say like if you was harvesting all the hay. Fill it up with some amount that kind of looks like that's how much you would get from all of the field. Okay. So we're going to go with something kind of like this. And then we're going to just start placing bits of grass around on the farmland. Or the coarse dirt like this. Quite a lot of it. It's going to look like bits of weeds that might have been growing in between some of the... wheat and stuff like that. Put a few bits around your hay as well. I think it does look quite nice when you plot it around the hay. You can even go ahead and plot a few ferns, like I said. A few ferns here and there. They add in a nice bit of detail. And then some random bits of tall grass. Especially around the edges. A few spots around the edges tends to look really good. But when you're placing it in the centers, I tend to make them just the odd one here or there. Okay guys, and once you're done, you should have something that kind of looks a bit like this. You're going for that kind of organic field that kind of just looks like the field's been sitting here for a little while with everything gathered up. And yeah, overall I think it looks really good. I really like the way this one looks. And once you've covered all of your fields and stuff, everything is going to look really nice. Now, before I go ahead and show you a few designs that I've done, guys, to give you a bit of inspiration, we're going to quickly just do a bit of work on the pathway here. So I'm going to show you how you can kind of make the pathways look nice and how to add the little bush areas and a few trees as well. Now, again, this is very simple, guys. This is nothing too crazy with these designs. So what I like to do, where we have these green areas of grass like this, little areas like this where we can kind of just add a few bushes and flowers and stuff, I'll grab maybe some oak leaves or acacia leaves, and we just kind of make a little kind of zigzaggy shaped little bush area, something kind of like this, and try and just make a few spots behind it so that we can put some plants and stuff like that. So something kind of like this around these little areas. Then go ahead, just add a couple of bits of tall grass or into there, maybe a rose bush. Then maybe one or two little flowers just around the edge, just to add a little highlight of colour. So something kind of like this. You can even add a couple of rose bushes if you feel like it would fit. And then for the trees are really simple. So first of all, let's make a little birch tree. So these can just stand anywhere. So let's place a birch fence there. And then we're going to raise it to, let's go to say about 7 to 8 blocks high. Normally I'd go. So let's go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we go one down from the top and we'll place one sticking out on one side, and we kind of just randomly rotate and place a couple out like this. Okay, now there's no specific way I normally go about this, it's just really kind of random. Now for this one I'm going to make a birch one. So at the very top we're going to place a birch leaf like this. We'll place one on each side all the way around the top. Then we're going to extend it down to where the next ladders are. So we're going to do this, fill in against this one, like so. Where the next ladder is there, we're just going to randomly fill that one in. We've got a ladder directly underneath here, so we're going to go up to about 3 blocks above the ground and just fill that one in. We've also got 1 block in the side there. We're going to just go ahead and do that. And overall, that doesn't look too bad. So now we just want to add a little bit more shape. So first of all, let's go ahead, let's put one against that. And we're going to put one underneath to kind of look like it kind of curls around it. Round here, I think we need another little birch fence. Let's put one there maybe. In fact, that looks a bit too close. Let's break that one. We'll put the birch leaf back. One further up, I think. Something like that. Then we're going to stick one against there, maybe. Actually, no, we'll put one against that side there like that. And it's just kind of really just messing around and moving a few around, adding in a few extra little fences, something like this. That looks too much, that looks too straight. We need to cover that one there, I think, something like that. Let's go, let's break that one. Let's put that one there. It's just really messing around with it until you kind of feel that it kind of fits. This one at the top here, let's break that one. What we'll do, we'll go 2 there, we'll go 1 over to that side, and then we can put 1 in here like this. So then we can put this fence coming out, so we get a little curve there. This side we can bring it into there, and then we should be able to put 1 in on here. Yeah, see, that's starting to look good. And then at the bottom here, I like to just make them hang at different lengths. So that one, actually we'll put that one hanging down there. That one can finish there. Round here we're gonna go 1 there, and maybe can we get 1 underneath it? There we go. Yeah, and that doesn't look too bad actually. That looks okay. You know, it's just kind of random really, just messing around until you feel like it looks bushy enough that it kind of feels like the right shape. You can always go ahead and add some on these like this if we can get them on. Maybe this one, but sometimes that helps, and sometimes it helps if you bring it up a little bit as well. Let's break that one there like that. There we go. That looks pretty good actually. I like that. Yeah, we're going to stick with that. I like that. So something kind of like that for the birch trees. It's just a matter of messing around with these guys. Just messing around, placing a few branches here and there, or a few fences here and there, and then adding some leaves. You could do exactly the same with a spruce fence, but if you're using a spruce, I would say go ahead and use oak or acacia leaves maybe. But with the spruce fence, I like to do trees a little bit different. So let's do a spruce one here. This one, we're going to go up to about somewhere between 9 and 12 high. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 11. We'll go 11. Again, we're going to go the same kind of idea. So something kind of like that. We're going to swirl back and forth. So something here. We ain't got to put them on every single one. We might put one there, and something like that. So again, it's just random. And here we're going to go ahead and use the acacia leaves. And you can use acacia or even oak leaves. Go ahead, up one side, run your leaves all the way to the top. Okay, so we don't want to really go any lower than 2 blocks up. You always want 2 blocks up that you can actually walk under, okay? Then we're going to place one here. So we're going to come up by 1. And then here, just fill this all the way again until we're level at the top. On the very top there, we can actually go ahead and place 2 leaves. Again, this side here, I'm going to bring it down so it's lit to 2 blocks above. Bring it all the way to the top. So up to there. Something like that. And then this side here, we do exactly the same. Just fill it all up to there. Place 1 in there. 1 there, like so. And then from here again, it's just a matter of messing around with shapes. So let's go ahead. We can put 1 on those on there, and we could perhaps bring that one out like that. That has a bit of shape there. Here we could go ahead and place 1 on there, and because we've got 1 directly there, we're going to break this one, and we're going to just leave that open like that. I'm not going to place another fence, because when you place it, it looks like 2 straighter lines. So something kind of like that. We'll go ahead, we'll put 1 here, 1 here. Let's break this one here and put a fence here, and we're going to break that fence there and put something like this. And it's kind of just a matter of trying to make it look like it kind of twists around here and there. So wherever it looks and feels more kind of natural to place things. So go ahead, do something like that. We might break that one there so that it kind of dangles on that side. There we go, guys. I think something kind of like that is what you're kind of looking at. Okay, it's nothing too much. I think it's is it an alpine tree or something like that? I think it's known as the kind of style of it. I'm not the best with building trees, but I think these fit in really nice into the little farm areas here, especially if you kind of surround these with loads of them, through your pathways and stuff like that. Go ahead and add a load of your little bushes in as well, and be sure to kind of mix up using oak leaves, acacia leaves, and any of your kind of green coloured leaves. Even the dark oak ones are fine. Add in a few bits of your tall grass, add in some rose bushes, and a few little flowers here and there. Just don't go too crazy with it. And then once you're done with it all, guys, go ahead, get yourself some grass, and then just plaster a load of it on your pathway. Not obviously too much, but kind of just dot it here, there, as you're going up the path. Loads of little bits of grass, because it will add a bit more of a kind of, I don't know, a bit more of a rough feel, you know, like it's been walked on. There's a few little weeds growing through the ground and stuff like that. And it does really make a huge difference. Even though it's only a little bit of grass, it really does change the whole environment up. Just gives it a little bit more life. So guys, now that we've gone over everything for the tutorial, let's take a quick look at a few of the builds that I've done for farms, and just give you a little bit of inspiration on building for yourself. Okay guys, so let's start with my favourite field. This is the one that I showed you at the very beginning of the video, and I gotta say, I absolutely love the shapes of these fields. We've got the wheat growing over here, we've got the beetroot over in this corner here, looking nice and kind of just slightly unorganised with a little kind of bit of coarse dirt in there and some of the grass. It really does look really nice. The lavender field over here looks great. We've got our pathways, not overly messed up, but messed up enough to make it look like a nice little used pathway. And overall, it blends in really well with the alliums. It looks really nice. We've also got our little bushes and all these little trees in here that just really bring the area to life. Now, like I said, the trees are nothing too much, but they really do work. They just fit in with the area. They look like trees, so they kind of do the job. The grapevines over here, again, I spaced them out a little bit wider over here. I think I had like 2 to 3 block space gap between them and kind of widened it up a little bit. This one don't look too bad. I think it would have looked nicer if I kept it a little bit more compact. So I kept them rows a little bit closer to each other. And it would have compacted a few more into here and probably made it look a bit nicer. But I'm not grumbling, guys. I think this looks really nice and I'm really happy with it. If you have any little empty areas, you can also go ahead and raise a little wall up like this and put some flowers behind it, even with maybe a tree or two in there, just to make again another little kind of sort of just something that just catches the eye, you know, and it just looks really nice. Over here, guys, this is a little melon and pumpkin field. This one I made a little bit sort of smaller, and as you can see with the terrain, it's got a very strange shape, but it looks perfect. It looks perfect for a little melon and pumpkin field. It really fits in with the area perfectly. I'm so happy with the way this one turned out. And yeah, it looks really cool. And then finally over here, we've got our little hay field that's been gathered up. And they've all stacked up, harvested all of the wheat and put it into a bunch of piles. And it looks really pretty cool. Nothing too crazy. It's nice and simple. But when it comes to building these kind of farms, guys, sometimes keeping them simple without overdoing it is best. Even though this may be slightly overdone, it's still fairly simple to follow. It's nothing too insane. And yeah, I think it looks really cool. Okay, guys, now this design is a little bit more open, and we used some fences in this. We've got some spruce fences just randomly dotted about, even here by our entranceways, just to create a little bit of interest. The fields here are a little bit more open. They're not so enclosed together. But overall, it still blends in nicely with the environment. As you have that kind of raised level of the fields and stuff, creating a nice kind of atmosphere to everything. We've got some carrots over here. And we've got some harvested wheat over here. Again, using very similar design like we did with the last one. But overall, guys, I'm really happy with the look of this. I love the way this wheat field looks here, the way it all kind of slopes up the hill there. Just from the look of the river here, it just really looks cool. But just go ahead, guys, add in all those little bits of details, and as you can see, it really brings the whole area to life. It's amazing what a bunch of fields can really do for any little village or town. It really does make a whole lot of difference. So go ahead and add some of these into your towns, guys. If you have any pictures and you want to share with me, be sure to join me on Discord. There'll be a link in the description. Go ahead and check that out. You guys can share your builds over there or chat with me about Minecraft or anything else. But for now, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up just there. So, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to smash that like button. It really does help me out. If you're new to the channel, then please consider subscribing. Just don't forget to hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a new video. But for now, this is BlueNerd signing out, and I will catch you guys in the next one.